Hello, and welcome to Kindling. I'm Awe, your storyteller. Now, today's tale comes to us from Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, a land of lush forests, cocoa farms, and over 60 different ethnic groups, each with their own storytelling traditions, songs, and rhythms. Now, Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast's name, comes from its historical role in the ivory trade. But its deeper treasures lie in its vibrant culture and in the stories passed down through generations of griots. Today, we have a very powerful little tale. It's a story about the importance of staying true to oneself. Now, settle in for today's story, The Bat Who Wanted Too Many Friends. Once, long ago, in a quiet corner of the animal kingdom, there lived a little bat. She was neither bird nor beast, neither of the skies nor of the ground, and she lived alone. In the daytime, while others played and laughed, the bat clung upside down in her cave, silent. And at night, when the forest hummed with stories and songs, she flew alone under the moonlight. Now, the bat, of course, had always lived alone. But this loneliness began to weigh on her, heavily. So heavily, in fact, that sometimes her heart felt as though she were carrying a stone inside of her chest. And in those moments of darkness, strange thoughts would come and go, like flickers of sadness and dreams, like shadows darting across the cave walls. The little bat was a kind creature, and she never quarreled with anyone. She never complained. Yet even so, perhaps because of this, others often took advantage of her. One day, the lion, angry and hungry after a failed hunt, barged into her cave and ate up all of her food. Another time, not long after, the panther did the very same. Once, when the bat had caught a fat, glistening, juicy carp from the river, just as she was about to eat it, the crocodile snatched it up from her claws. A carp for a bat? No, no, no. That's a meal for someone much grander. And he ate it up. Well, the poor little bat, of course, was defenseless, and she could say or do nothing. She had no one to turn to, no friend to share her sorrow, no ear to hear her dreams or console her. And so the little bat thought to herself, "This is not how I want to live. I need a friend, someone who will stand by me." And so she made up her mind. The very next day, she set off to find a friend, and she came across the hedgehog. "Brother Hedgehog," she said, "I'm tired of being alone. Will you be my friend?" The hedgehog smiled warmly. "Gladly, little bat, we shall be friends." And as a sign of their bond, he plucked out a little tuft of his prickly hair and gave it to her. Now, with a new friend by her side, the bat felt a joy that she had never known before. The two of them shared food, they traded stories, they even gave each other valuable advice about troubles in life. But though they were very good friends, not long after that, the bat began to think to herself, "Hedgehog is a good friend, but perhaps I could have just one more." And so out she went, looking for another friend, and she met the monkey. "Papa Monkey," she said sweetly, "I long for company. Will you be my friend too?" Said the monkey, scratching his chin. "All right, but promise me one thing, that you won't be friends with that trickster, Kweku Anansi the spider. He thinks he's cleverer than me." "Oh, I promise," said the bat. And so, to seal their friendship, Papa Monkey gave her a bit of his skin. "Now," he said, "whoever sees you will know that you are my friend and not the spider's friend." Well, as that was decided, the little bat now had two friends, but still she felt she needed more allies. And so she went on in search of more friends. She went to the lizard, then to the parrot, then to the squirrel, then to the elephant, then to the cat. And as she went along, each one gave her something of theirs, a token of friendship. A scale here, a feather, a tail here, a whisker. Soon the bat wore a patchwork of many gifts. And then she thought to herself, now I have many friends. Now I am safe. I am strong. But as we all know, nothing in life is ever certain. And one day, the little bat, who had always been strong and healthy, suddenly fell ill. Very ill, in fact. And as the days went on, her wings began to droop, her eyes dimmed, and before the sun rose the very next day, the poor little bat had died. Well, the news of the bat's demise soon spread across the forest like wildfire. Whispers through leaves, echoes in the ravines. The wind, the birds, even the rivers carried the tale. The bat is dead. And of course, it wasn't very long before all of her friends had heard of the bat's demise. And so, one by one, they all began to travel to come and pay their respects to their lost friend. The hedgehog arrived first, but he looked at her and frowned. That's not the bat I knew. Oh, no, her body is too long. Her nose is not quite right. And he walked away. Then, of course, came Papa Monkey. But he too stared for a moment. She doesn't look like my friend. No, my bat had my skin on. This one looks different. And he too walked away. Well, one by one they came, and one by one they left. Not one of them recognized her. Not one of them claimed her. Not one of them buried her. And so, the little bat's body lay there alone in the dust, beneath the palm trees, along the banks of the lazy river. Slowly, over many, many hot days, the sun beat down on her. Her fur stiffened, her wings curled up, and her body slowly withered away. Well, the birds in the sky, they went on preening. The women from the village laughed as they always did, walking to and from the spring. The clouds changed shape and drifted on. The trees fanned themselves and rustled their leaves and branches in the wind. The world carried on as it always had, and took no notice at all of the poor little bat whose body lay in the dust. Only the mangrove tree, whose roots kissed the edge of the water, only the mangrove tree pricked its ears, listened, and remembered. And to this day, its roots still whisper, "Once there lived a little bat who wanted too many friends. But when her time came, not a single one remembered her." And that is where the story ended. A powerful but sad little story about a lonely little creature. So what's the lesson in the bat's tale? Well, perhaps that a true friend is not someone who gives you a token or simply wants to make you into their own image. It's someone who stands by you when the skies darken and will be there until the very end. We all need friendship, of course, but real friendship should be honest, deep, and shared. It's not something that can be collected and put on like shiny trinkets. This tale is also a reminder that we should always stay true to who we are and not feel the need to change ourselves simply to please others. In the end, no one could recognize the bat because she had changed herself so much in order to make others like her that she no longer resembled anything that anybody knew. The bat wanted to belong to everyone, but of course, in the end, she belonged to no one at all. Now, no matter how old you are, this is an important lesson. And it's a good one to remember, whether in friendship or in love or even in business. Now, feel free to share the story with your friends and family. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more folktale wisdom. Until next week and our next episode, remember, keep the fire burning.